There we go. There we go. Welcome to the show. This is the show where it's kind of chatty, Cathy, whatever you want to talk about, mostly video games, of course, geek-related stuff, and mostly video games. And there's definitely a lot to talk about in the world of video games. I appreciate you being here. If you want to jump on to the show and talk live, you can do that. I will periodically put the link up. One of the things I wanted to do with the poll was on the stream I was just testing out earlier was to allow people to kick people and say, oh, okay, we're sick of hearing this person, right? That's why I was trying to make it work, but so far no success. So Ballistic T Gaming, good to see you, buddy. But anyway, let me give you the link, and at the appropriate time I'll bring you guys in. Invite, here you go, it's right here, and you don't have to be on screen, you can be on audio, whatever you want to fucking do, I don't care. Okay, but in the meantime, let's talk about what do we want to talk about first? Which X? Let me go to the chat for a second. Proto V, good to see you, buddy. He says, love how awesome your setup is looking. All the graphic art is amazing. What graphic art? You should have seen that stream I just did, Proto V. It was a nightmare. But I appreciate it, buddy. Good to see you. Which X says, what do you think of Kind of Funny canceling their specialty shows and just having one game cast that talks about Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo? Well, that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I understand the value. I mean, Colin said something pretty correct, in my opinion, the other day. I forget what show it was on, one of his shows, but he was talking about the importance of niching down and, staying a PlayStation podcast for him makes a lot of sense because, the audience can be very targeted on what they want. I still think that is going to be applicable as we move through the next kind of years of console craziness that's about to happen. But I would say that breaking up the niche by first-party publishers is starting to make less and less and less sense, of course, because there's just not enough to talk about, specifically because the games are taking so fucking long to come out. So then the real question is, when do you, what do you pivot to? This show, of course, has been all about the industry and almost too broad for a very long time. So there's many days I think about pivoting to a more niche topic, but to be perfectly frank, I enjoy gaming on pretty much everything, whether it's a mobile phone or the high-end PC I just bought. So, I'm definitely kind of, I get the value of it, but it's not something I'm pursuing. I love the Zombies Ate My Neighbor SNES cartridge. Is it in the back? Can you see? Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, you got a good eye, man. Yeah, I fucking love that game. Although it's you go back and play it and it doesn't work as well. Oh my God, I got to tell you guys something really quickly. We'll get to the news, I promise. Fuck you, Bukaki Drive-By. He says, pivot to my balls. You know what? I really had hoped that you had died in a fire because we hadn't seen you in a while. And I was like, is he dead? Is he dead? And it's like, apparently not. That's okay. But anyway, point being, Bukaki, it's good to see you. Well, I'll tell you that later. What do I think of the Superman image? Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen it. If not, here it is real quick. We're not going to spend too much time on it. You wish. Oh, you're gonna go to hell. Let me show you this goddamn screen here. Share screen. Entire screen. All right. I like it. I mean, it's fine. The boots are cool. I'm not. Here's what I'll say. When I was a kid, and Christopher Reeve was the first person. There was the serials back in the day and George Reeves, but the first, modern movie guy to be Superman, what the costume looked like mattered. And then when Bryan Singer, took a break from sexually assaulting people allegedly and decided to make Brandon Routh Superman, I was excited to see, what's that costume? But since then, whether it's on the CW shows or whether it's on multiple iterations of the same costume with Snyder, it's whatever. It's cool. It looks good. I mean, I liked how at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, his costume was almost very much like almost weirdly accurate to a comic book. Like it was so shiny. And I like how Wolverine's costume and Wolverine Deadpool is that too. So I kind of wish this costume was a little bit more primary. Then again, it does look like it's kind of battle worn a little bit. So, but I like it. No, it's not Henry Cavill. I don't know. It's the new guy who is playing the role, but I don't know who it is. I like who they have for Lois Lane though, because I love the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Okay. So anyway, yeah, but I like it. I haven't really been around the internet today to see what the shenanigans are, what people think about it. But I'm kind of a fan. But now listen to this. You guys know what happened with the whole Helldivers thing, and yes, of course, I have an opinion. And I see you, Grim the Kid. I'll bring you in just a couple of minutes. No, that's not AI, Brad Glasgow. That's actually the real deal. So. Okay, let me just bring you up to speed. But in bringing you up to speed, I need to ask you guys a question because I don't fully understand a lot of what's going on here because it can't be what I think it is. So Helldivers was on Steam and PlayStation, and then a couple of days ago they said, hey, if you want to continue to play Helldivers on PC, on Steam, you need to acquire a PSN account and link it. You don't have to pay anything, but you have to have the account. Or, you basically can't play it anymore on Steam because for whatever reason. And people got really upset. And I understand why some people got really upset because you couldn't play it in certain countries because PSN isn't available in certain countries. And that's, of course, incredibly shitty. But I do recall several times seeing people online pointing to the original terms of service on Steam from Sony saying, hey, in a couple of months or weeks or whatever it was, this game is going to require a PSN account. So there was absolutely no like, we're pulling a fast one. I mean, maybe I don't think it was in that small of print. Maybe if it was, that's what people are upset about. But they didn't pull this out of their buttholes. This was promised from day one. They were like, we're not going to do it yet for probably technical reasons. Who the fuck knows? But so I understand that the fans who are kind of like, well, dude, I love your game, but I don't get PSN. In my country. I understand that. Spasbo says if you buy the PC version from the Sony store, it always said that linking PlayStation Network was optional. Although Earthworm Jim is pushing back and saying they did not say it was optional. I haven't seen that either. Where it says it was optional. But anyway, so, Sony clearly, laid down, this is the plan. And the people who can't play it in their country, even though they were warned, I understand. The people who were just before throwing a shit fit, who gives a shit? I think they're fucking babies. The idea that you just don't want to sign up, tough shit. You sign up. I mean, honestly, I that argument did not land with me. The argument of going, they never said this was part of the product and now it is. That argument landed with me, even though I don't give a fuck because that's kind of shitty. But apparently they were clear from the very beginning what this was, that you would need PlayStation Network. So people, though, got upset. They review bombed the game. Steam, my understanding, was starting to give discounts, or not discounts, return. You could get a refund even if you played well more than 2 hours. I don't know. I guess that wouldn't matter on Sony, like the actual console, but Steam was given refunds. And last night, PlayStation was like, hey, we're just learning about this PC thing. It's kind of new to us. We apologize. We're rolling this back. You don't have to have a PlayStation Network account. So, great. I think that's great that you don't have to have it, because why add any more friction? But that aside, okay, so Spasmo just sent me a web page. He says, well, I'll get to his web page in a minute about it being optional, but assuming all that's correct, what I found, the winner in a lot of these recent culture war things that have been going on in video games, honestly, is Valve and Gabe Newell, because people who are kind of now doing these little stupid, cringy victory laps, like, we did it, gamers did it, we have power. I think it's embarrassing. I think it's stupid. I think it's ignorant, because the only real power you have, is everybody knows, is what you spend. And if suddenly, just like with Cyberpunk, you are losing money because of a decision that you guys made at Sony, that's what turned the tide. It wasn't the review bombing. It's just such a embarrassing for a lot of these gamers take, that it's like they've done something. They've listened to the customers in the sense that they took their money back, and that's how it exactly should be. But then I saw an article in Kotaku today that was talking about, oh, well, see, this is how it should be, and Sony bent the knee to all these, the customer, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, don't fucking hype these kids up. Don't hype the kids up and make them think it's something that it's not. Because good and goddamn well that is not what happened. Sony gave these guys a platform to make the game, says Golf Franchise. The developer should have sided with Sony. Well, I mean, the developer got nailed by the consumer. They went out of their way to say, this is not our fault, we are not a fan of it. And then when this was reversed, in fact, the CEO and or one of their community managers, who said he was almost fired because of it, tweeted out, hey, keep it going, because this is helping in our discussions with Sony about, can we reverse this policy? Well, when Sony reversed the policy, the CEO of the developer of the game, Arrowhead, came out today and said, oh, this is great. What did he say? He said, this is what fans do, and our fans are great, or, a bunch of fucking, I'm in Cleveland, so you say it's great to be in Cleveland, and you get, applause, and you act like, hey, they must really love me. Yeah, Helldivers 2 boss impressed by players' willpower in reversing PlayStation Network requirement. You're not impressed by their willpower. You're impressed by the fact they were getting their fucking money back, and capitalism, whatever you think of it, was working as it should. That's why. So this is what I don't understand. Raveno says, but Jaffe, there were literally dozens of players in countries where PSN is not available. And I know you're being sarcastic, but my understanding is there was like a lot more countries that couldn't do it, right? They couldn't, they basically said, you can't play this game. It wasn't like 8 or 9. It was like 100 little countries, right? Am I right? These companies have way too much power sometimes, says Blackjack. Yeah, but they don't have any power. This is what I find, and maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe a lot of people on the internet didn't get a good education when it came to economics or whatever. But the fact that they're now going, where's this one on? This is on this is on IGN. It's way past time for corporate bootlicking to stop. And it says, Helldivers proves that you can make your opinion known about greed-fueled business practices coming from worthless gaming execs, and they have to listen for fear of losing their next bonus and yacht. No, it doesn't matter about your opinion. Nobody gave a shit at Sony about your review bombs. What they cared about was your money. That's not news. That's not worthy of a post, Funk Miller. That's not a brand new idea that you're like, see, fellas, we proved it. You proved what? That supply and demand and the free market works to some extent. Yeah. Welcome to, what? 18, whenever. Well, I don't fucking know when it was. 7. You know what I'm talking about. Where's Colin when you need him? He can tell you exactly the date it started on. And then I like this though. There's something in human nature that leads to this kind of tribal behavior. Some people express it with defending their political party, others when it comes to sports and consoles, blah, blah, blah. It is true. It is a point where, can we get past this already? Can we fucking get past this? This is like a surprise. This is what these fucking companies do. All the good God dong live long day. Let's stop acting like this is a surprise. Okay. Let me go to the chat. We got Scotty Woodford, been a member for 26 months. Thank you, buddy. He says, hello. I hope everybody's doing well. Xbox butter. I love all the YouTube content creators. I love your membership. I love you. I love your comment, but I do not understand your comment. But thank you for it, buddy. Xbox butter. What? I don't understand. Wallstream acted pro-consumer and refunded anyone who asked for their money back. Steam. Yes. Well, again, Steam didn't act pro-consumer. Steam did what was again, they don't care about you. It's not pro-consumer. They don't care. And I don't mean as humans. I'm sure Gabe Newell's a nice guy, but they're not in the business of giving a fuck about the consumer other than, is it going to make us more money, either in the immediate term or the long term? And so they decided at Steam, I'm assuming our best bet, our best foot forward is to make the customer happy right now. And in doing that, that is good for business in the short term and in the long term. Similarly, when they said we're not going to get rid of the curated Steam list from the guy who was saying Sweet Baby worked on all these games. And Steam was like, other than kind of inaccurate ones, no, you can put that list up. We don't care. That's not because they're like, yay, the customer. That's just it's just, please get out of that mindset, because all you're going to do is be disappointed always. It's not about that. The only power you have, which is a tremendous amount of power, is your fucking ducats, man. Mark says, didn't the CEO of Arrowhead express being complicit in the decision, saying he knew all along and should have been honest earlier? I don't even understand that. They were honest the day the game launched. They were honest the day the game launched, when they said, hey, this is going to be, what's the word? This is going to be a requirement. You're going to have a PSN account. Cosmic Bandito says, Jesus Christ, take the win. It's a win for the people who get to play Helldivers. Absolutely. That's wonderful. But I mean, you got to understand why this matters. I'm not just being a dick. I'm not just being a contrarian fellow, Cosmic Bandito. It matters because it's this dumb fucking narrative that is absolutely not accurate. And if you shovel this shit to people who don't know any better, clearly, they're going to walk away from what could be a really good learning experience for how the market works with a totally wrong idea. So it's not that I don't want to take the win. I appreciate the win for fans of that particular game. But that's not what we're talking about. So Gungan says, Steam didn't refund everyone who asked for their money back. Many people were denied. What was the reason? Because I have heard that as well. I've heard that it was denied by some folks or to some folks. So gotta love pro-capitalists coming to the realization corporations don't give a shit about you. That's why we need unions for the workers, all workers, regulations, and companies. I'm not pro-capitalist. If you're talking about me, I think heavily regulated capitalism is probably the best idea we've got, but no one's doing heavily regulated capitalism. But I want to go to this thing. Where Spaz is saying that this has been in the news by hell. Okay, so Spaz sent me this. The webpage always said linking PSN was optional. They do give you a Steam voucher for the game if you're buying it from here. Okay, so let's look at this briefly. I want to see what Spaz is talking about. So if you bought this directly from the PlayStation Store, let's see. Let's put that there. Okay. Okay, here's what Spaz just sent us. It says, let's just type PSN, see what comes up. I don't see anything. PSN. Okay. Do I need a PlayStation Network account to play? No, you currently do not need it to enjoy on PC, but you will need a Steam account to redeem your voucher. Some of PlayStation Studio titles also offer incentives for linking it. Okay, well then so if that is what was, unless this is was today, but if you're saying, even though I did not see this on Steam, if you're saying the Sony store said you don't need it, and then they change their mind, that is that's totally different in the sense that I'm totally opposed to that. I mean, I'm still in agreement with the core idea that the power is in the refunds, but if that's accurate, it said it 3 days ago, but I wonder if it said it, like if you go to Steam, and you look at it, or you look at some of the earlier things before they were talking about this, that's not what it said actually. So, but I don't know, but I would get you with that. I think it would be different if they didn't say the word currently. Yeah. Are you saying currently meaning that this is as of right now is what you mean? But the question is, when was that written? Bukaki says, Jaffe's trying to tell the gamers they can't see the forest for the trees, but they are busy staring at a cow pie on the ground. They are dumb. Most of them are not dumb, but a lot of the vocal ones on the internet are dumb. I hate to say it, but it's true. If you really don't understand the basic way the economy or the free market works at this point, and you're smart enough to hold a controller and turn on your goddamn PlayStation, I don't know what to tell you. Did anyone get a refund for Stellar Blade, says JJD, because you could no longer get a sexy outfit? Let me tell you something. We'll move on in a second. I'll talk about that briefly. Jaffe seems to me, says Toxmod, right from the start, this game got too big to handle. Remember the server issue. Well, I mean, that's a nice problem to have. But, even if it was a few days ago, currently doesn't imply permanent. Okay, so what you mean is the fact that currently that's the deal. Fine, but it wasn't the deal a few days ago. So if Spaz is right, and I'm sure he is, that this was what it said a few days ago, then it wasn't currently. So, yes, hello, sweet baby. Good to see you, buddy. The one thing I will say, though, that it does speak poorly on, and let me fix. I hate that. I don't know why this camera does that. Well, I'll fix it later. This is not what my face looks like. For some reason, the camera decided to make me look better, and I look like a fucking silent movie actor. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. As for Joe talking about Stellar Blade, I got people hitting me back, still talking about, and this is going to embolden these morons. That's the truth. This is going to embolden these fucking morons, because now they're like, see, they've been hitting me up on probably something on Reddit pinged to me. And so now people are hitting me up like, you have to sign you have to walk back what you said was so stupid about the Stellar Blade petition. One person writes into me, says, because of your title, I'm not gonna play your video. Just vote it down. Delete my comment, and you won't even get that for the algorithm. And I wrote back, I said, who gives a shit? Like, literally, who in the fuck gives a shit? Your sense of your own importance as it relates to anyone but you and your closest people is disturbing. And then I kept getting a lot of people hitting me up today, like, see, you have to sign it. As in, because, see, the gamers have a voice, and we can turn the tide, and we can make change. And so, because we saw it with Helldivers, now let's make it happen with Stellar Blade. Shut up. Just fucking shut up. I'm so tired of these little bitches. These whiny fucking little bitches. Just shut up. Play the game. I mean, literally, there are games. If you go to fucking Stoner Joe says, you got to sign it. A petition is a lot less useful than review bombing, says Brad. It's all stupid, though. It's all stupid. All that matters is, did they get refunds? And if they did, that's the weirdest part. It's like I'm going to make up this analogy on the fly. I'm terrible at that, but it's like you're standing in the ring with a goddamn, Mike Tyson in his prime, and you're spending all this time, all this energy, all this effort trying to figure out, how do I beat him before it kicks the shit out of me and I'm dead? And there's a fucking off switch. All you got to do is reach up and flick the off switch. The off switch is get your money back. The power that you have is insane. But instead, I don't know. Yeah, review bombing brings publicity to the complaint. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's so what? So what? I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, seriously, you show me, Bradley. You show me one time that a review bomb has elicited any kind of change, even with publicity. The Cyberpunk stuff had everything to do with refunds and with people and Sony pulling the game because they didn't want to look bad to their customers, and the stock market going, oh, well, this isn't going to sell because the reviews. Review bombing doesn't matter. It's just stupid. Zeke says bad PR, anti-company sentiment, and declining goodwill do matter. It only matters if it hits their bottom line. That's it. That's true. Movie Maniac says the review bombing does give Kotaku something to write about. That's fair. But anyway, Spaz says, look at Overwatch 2 on Steam. It's one of the most negatively reviewed games on Steam since it came out, yet they never did what the people wanted anyway. No, of course not. And because the people don't know what they want. I keep going back to this great speech that Ben Cousins gave. He was one of the first. Loading, shut up. I'll get to the next topic when I get to the next topic. Good God Almighty. Look, he was one of the first out of the boat fighting the free-to-play battle. He did a cartoony version of Battlefield it was Battlefield on PC. And it was launched with this idea of we are going to be for the players. There's not going to be any pay to win. It's all going to be cosmetic. We know what players want. And they were about to be driven out of business because they weren't making any money. And so you can see this talk online, this the slideshow online. It's great. And so they said, you know what, it's not going to work if we keep going the way we're going. We're all going to be out of jobs. So let's sell a couple items that are expensive and that do turn the tide and give you power. And the entire community fucking hated it. They were so mad and angry, and I'll never play this game, and I hate this, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? Their sales started to go up. Guess what? The people who wrote on the forums about how shitty it was, they cross-referenced it, and they were many of the same people who were actually buying the goddamn items. So when gamers tell you one thing, it doesn't matter. And I don't mean that disrespectfully as a human. Of course, what you personally think matters a great deal. Of course. But at a business level, nobody cares about people yelling on the internet. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous assumption. You have no basis in fact to suggest it is anything else. Brad Glasgow thinks he's got some evidence. He says The Elder Scrolls V was review bombed in 2015 after the game's introduction of paid mods, leaving Valve to reverse their decision and remove the paid mod functionality. Again, I'm sure that happened, but I don't know if you're linking one to the other you have any evidence of. If they stopped playing Skyrim, if Steam suddenly lost sales and had to give refunds, that makes a lot of sense. Although I don't know why Valve would be reversing their decision unless, because wouldn't that be Bethesda? But anyway, okay, I will agree. We will move on. Cosmic Bandito, shut up. You have no evidence. What the fuck are you talking about? They were getting killed and merely listened. What do you mean? They were having to pay money back. That's what happened. Jesus. All right, Grim the Kid, it's Jaffe. What's going on?
Hey, fam, how's it going?
It's not you're wrong, Cosmic. It's YOU''RE. All right, what's up, buddy? What's up, Grim?
Nothing. Just got out of work, and I seen you weren't live, so I decided to pop in. And I didn't know you were using StreamYard, so
I use it from time to time. I like it for this, but it's tough. Like I don't even know. I'm struggling to hear you, but I think the audience can hear you pretty well. Maybe talk a little louder. But what do you want to talk about? What's up, man?
Well, going off the topic that you were talking about before with like the feedback with Helldivers and how people are thinking that it's making a change and whatnot. Like me personally, I live under a freaking rock. I have no idea what's going on in the gaming community. Like I'm still the type of person to just play like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 games, and I go to work and I come home and I just chill. And so I don't own a PlayStation 4 or 5 or anything like that. So I kind of think that like with the chat and whatnot, because I know all you people game and you guys are all up to date of what's going on. But just hearing what you had to say, it's just PlayStation as a business runs like any other business does. They put out a product to make money. That's their targeted goal, is to make money. Yes, people's consideration for, is the like how good the product is, like all that stuff does matter at the end of the day. But the center of attention is they're trying to make money off of a product. So I completely agree with you, Jaffe, on the fact that, I mean, for one, you've been working with Sony before, with before you were retired and whatnot, and so I like things,
I know
like,
something, sure, yeah.
so but that, like, I always, whenever I as a consumer indulge myself in being a consumer, I always try to keep that in mind. That way it's like, if I ask for something from a company, I know that, yes, my opinion does matter if it's going to better the product to a point where it's going to make them more money. And if that opinion is something that everybody is kind of like talking about, but at the same time, it's got to be something that the company has to decide on, not us as a people, because we don't run anything. We have no authority over anybody. We're just consumers.
Yeah, spend your money. I mean, that's what's going on, is because the tribal shit has gotten so out of whack because of the internet, that now people struggle with the fact that the normal response to a shitty company is to get your money back and or leave the company, right?
Right.
But now they think they have this line and it's going to matter. It's like, dude, anyway, I'm with you 100%. What does it mean you're an underground horrorcore artist? I love horror and I think it's the greatest thing in the world. What do you do?
Okay, so a lot of people are probably gonna be like, "Oh shit," but so I'm a part of a community that you're probably familiar with. It's the Juggalo community and whatnot. I don't like talk about like horrorcore stuff as in like killing people or anything like that. I still make music for the fan base and the community, but I took a different turn on it. I tried to do like paranormal, like a paranormal aspect with like cryptids and stuff like that. So I make music for that community, but I also draw art for that community as well. And I tried to put both together. And like I don't ever show my face on any of my albums or my music or music videos or anything like that. But everything's always like, either I'm working on animations for music videos, but everything's always like it's this cartoon character that you're seeing for my icon right now.
So when you say Juggalo, you mean like that's Insane Clown Posse people, right?
Correct.
But what do you mean you don't kill people? I never knew they were a violent group. They just like the band. That's not what it is?
No. Like their lyrics talk about killing people.
Well, do they actually mean you should go kill people?
No, no. So their music is supposed to be something that's like therapeutical for people who are like, they're enraged by things that have happened in their life. So they listen to their music as a way to like express their rage.
Okay.
Kind of like
how do I
people
find
do
your
with,
shit online? How do people find you? I want to look at your stuff after the stream.
You can find me on Apple, iTunes and whatnot. You can also find me on YouTube Music.
It's just the Grim Kid?
Yep, Grim the Kid, grimthekid.i.d. So I have a 5-song sampler out right now.
Okay, there we go.
I have gotten reviews back from it saying that my equalization is bad. It's a sampler for an album that I'm working on called The Outlands.
Okay.
And it's pretty much telling a story about an alternate like world where people who go missing end up and they're like tested by like.
I'll tell you what, man. I love the album, because most people don't listen to full albums anymore, but I love narrative albums like that. And I know people like you probably hate it, but I've been playing around with the AI music shit recently, and I'm just like, I can write lyrics okay. I'm like, I'm gonna do a fucking rock opera, for Kratos. I think that would be cool as fuck, man.
Right.
But anyway, I think it's cool. I like what you do. I'll give it some looks and listens later tonight. But thanks for calling, buddy.
Real quick, I had a couple questions for you, by the way.
Yep.
Because the whole reason why I got to know who you were was because of Twisted Metal.
Okay.
And two questions for you was, one, I recently heard, and I don't know if you covered this in any other video yet, but I recently heard that the production team that was working on a possible new Twisted Metal game had gotten shut down, because Sony was making cuts in the
that's my understanding. I mean, I know it for a fact. It was absolutely shut down. It was canceled. Man,
that's a disappointment. Okay. Two is me and my grandfather have been talking because last year I went to my first gathering of the Juggalos and whatnot, and I've been chatting with some friends about taking a car of some sort and then souping it up to look like a Twisted Metal car to take to the gathering as like a show car.
Awesome.
And then my grandpa was just like, well, why don't we buy like an old mail truck and try to do a sweet tooth car?
Shit. You got a cool grandpa.
I know. Well, he's huge into cars. He's especially old cars.
Okay.
So
I think that would be awesome.
To help me out.
And please send me pictures.
Oh yeah, of course. It's probably going to take us like a year at least to do this, but and
it's only a show car, right? Because whenever Sony would actually build a sweet tooth car for conventions and stuff, we could never get it street legal. We wanted to drive it around Comic-Con and hand out ice cream, but they were just like, "Yeah, you can't put that on the road, dude." So, is it just for show, or would you be able to actually drive it?
Well, I was thinking about driving it there, but I didn't know what I could legally do with it yet,
Yeah, I imagine it's state by state, I think. So check into that where you're going to be going through, but I think it would be the coolest fucking thing in the world, man.
So, and of course, yeah, I'll shoot you some pictures on, I don't know what social media platform you follow most on.
I'm on Twitter usually, but here, and I'm easy to find. Just type in on Google, you'll find me.
All right, of course.
All right,
the
buddy,
question
thanks for
that
calling.
I had though was
okay, real quick
for the head.
Yep.
For the one that you guys used for the E3, like showcasing and whatnot, and the one and the shoot my truck.
Yep.
What material did you guys use for the head?
No fucking clue. I have no idea. We hired a professional effects house in LA. I couldn't. I have no idea. No clue. I know we filled it with not TNT, but we filled it with explosives. So when it blew up, it would blow up real good. But I don't know what they used to actually build it.
Okay. So, well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, man. And, thanks for calling. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right, bud. All right. So if you want a link and you want to call in just like our new friend, the Gigolo, that's pretty cool. I want to check out his stuff. I'll put this for you right here. In the meantime, I think that works. Yeah, there you go. In the meantime, let's talk about some other things. There's other things happening in the world of video games. Come on now. It's not all Helldivers, is it? Jesus Christ, people. Oh my God. I have to ask you guys a question real quick though. This is about movies, so don't get all mad at me because it's not about video games. We'll get to video games, but I want to tell you because, we all know May the 4th was a few days ago. Was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. And, the hype got to me and I said, all right, I'm going to sit down and watch Phantom Menace again because they re-released it into the motion picture houses, right? And I said, okay, I want to watch this again. And I got to say, I don't want to say this because it's awful because I've hated on this movie so much. I saw it the night it opened. I was excited. I bought some of the toys. I was not incentivized or predetermined to be a hater of this movie. And Revenge of the Sith is one of my favorite Star Wars movies of all time. But this is not anywhere near as bad as I thought it was. Pap says, "Don't say it." I'm just saying it, it's not, it's kind of good. It's not a very well told story at a cinematic level. There's obviously some terrible performances. But I do think there's something about seeing it in context of everything else. It's kind of good. It's kind of engaging. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was just caught up in the hype. They re-released it. It made about $20 million it made this weekend. No, sorry, I was wrong. It made $8 million over the weekend. The number 2 motion picture show. Everybody's bitching in Hollywood about, oh, Fall Guy's great. It only made 30 million. I was literally gonna go see Fall Guy next week, but then I'm serious. We were gonna. Here's what our plans for next week are. This is already set, right? I says we're gonna go. We're gonna go out to dinner, and then we're gonna go to see Fall Guy. And then there's a great big Barnes and Noble next door to the theater. We were going to go to that. That was our Saturday night plan coming up. And then, I was starting to think about it, and I said, nah, I don't want to spend the money on the fucking movie. Let's go to let's go out to dinner. Let's go buy some books. Let's go do something else. We'll go home, watch a movie, because it'll be on the goddamn streaming in a couple of weeks. I just can't justify. I just can't justify it. It seems stupid to spend that kind of money. So when these guys are talking about what happened, I'm like, well, what do you mean what happened? It's just, you guys charge way too much for your product. It's not worth it when I can pretty much get an identical version for my brain. Watching home. Listen to this though. Bad Robo, you're just wrong. He says, yeah, Jaffe, that explains why you like Starfield. Let me explain something to you, sir. There was a post over on NeoGAF talking about the big patch that is coming for Starfield. Not the one coming in a couple of weeks that adds vehicles, but talking about the one in December or the winter that adds Shattered Skies or something, a whole new thing, a whole new story and narrative and all that shit. And then there's also a big patch they announced yesterday that or the day before for Diablo 4. Now, I was not a hater of Diablo 4, but apparently there are people who feel that it is shitty. They've made some dumb decisions, and everybody seems pretty pro on a bunch of the stuff and they've changed for the new patch that'll be coming out pretty soon. And the narrative or the question on NeoGAF was, okay, so which one is going to have the redemption arc? Which one do you think is going to have the biggest redemption arc? Is the patch for Starfield going to really do it for people and bring a lot of people back? Or is the patch for Diablo? I mean, I think Diablo probably has a better chance because it didn't get the kind of hate Starfield got. But I like the changes that Diablo is talking about, because one of the things I peeled off on for Diablo was in fact one of the things they're changing, which is like, you guys have so much loot and so many numbers, and then I got to pick it up and then pause it to see what it is and what's valuable and all that shit. All that's fixed, simplified, fixed. I'm excited. So, but I will say though, I've been playing Starfield again recently, and I love it as much as I always have. So I don't care. We talked about this in the last stream. I don't care if you don't like it. It's fucking awesome. Go see Fall Guys in the theater, says 7-6, and see the special effects and support stuntmen. I don't want to. It's not my job to support stuntmen. It's not my job to support indie developers. I'm so tired of that narrative that gets shoved down people's throats. It's like, shut up. Not you, but I mean, I'm just like, I don't, make a product that's worth selling and is marketed well enough to merit people spending their money and time, and I'll show up for it. But it's not, I'm not going to jump through hoops. That's again, this kind of goes back to that fucking, where did these people learn basic economics? I'm not supporting Ronald McDonald because I went and got fries the other day. I'm supporting Ronald McDonald inadvertently because I wanted the fucking product they sell. But I did love Starfield, to be fair. And I hear Fall Guy is great. I'm not knocking the movie. I want to see it. Listen to this. Pap says, anybody get Hades 2 yet? I got it. I played it for about an hour today. I like it. I like it a lot. It is Hades, right? It's the main character I like a little bit better than the old guy. There's some neat powers. I've only been into about, like I said, I've only played I haven't gotten to the first boss yet. That's how little I've played it. And but so far, yeah, I'm digging the shit out of it. It's really fucking good, man. I'll play Starfield, says ToxMod, when it comes to PS5. It probably will come to PS5, and it should. And I think it'll be great. And I think people will be like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. Yes, I am still playing Unicorn Overlord. Listen, fellas, I know this is an old, everybody, we all know. I'm not saying anything new, but maybe the issue is that it's not just the layoffs because of the pandemic, but there are literally I know this sounds crazy, but there are so many good games right now. And maybe it's because they hired so many people during the pandemic and we're starting to see all those games. We've already started to see them come out last year, but we're seeing more of the results of all those people working on games. There's just so much good stuff that there is no way in hell that, something's got to give. And I don't just mean the jobs of the developers that they laid off. There's just no time to play all this shit. And there's great fucking shit out there, man. I don't know. Going back to movies, Movie Maniac says, you talk about entertainment often not being pure, but I would argue the prequel trilogy is George's pure vision. You know what it is? I think that, and it's a terrible thing to say because as a standalone motion picture show, the prequels, especially the first one, the second one has hit or miss moments, of course, and the third one I think is pretty great. But when you stand them up against the new trilogy, which had moments I loved, but overall I thought it was not very good. It's not so much that I can look back at the early movies and appreciate them because they're good on their own. What's good about them is kind of like they work really well as world building, and they work really well as almost like travel logs of going to these cool places. That's fucking awesome. But as a stand-up movie, some of them are pretty bad, I would say. Have I played the Ori series? No. I played a little bit of it. It controlled great. I loved it, but I just wasn't in the headspace. But I'm playing the shit out of No Rest for the Wicked. It's fucking phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal. But anyway, yeah. So I am playing Hades 2. I might play some of it tonight, actually, but I don't know what to tell you. There's too much to play. It's too much to play, man. Listen to this. There's this analyst in games. Somebody thought it was a good idea to call him Piers Harding Rolls. Could you be any whiter, born in upper class Malibu or upper class Bel Air or whatever? He's an analyst. Here's what he said, though, and I want to push back on this because I think this is bullshit, absolute bullshit. The recent news that Microsoft's Game Pass only reached 34 million paid subs, even with conversion of Live Gold subs to Game Pass, and the year-on-year fall in Sony's PlayStation Plus subscribers underlines our view that subs are not going to dominate monetization in games as they have in other media sectors. I just find this, it's not, because you guys fucking know, you guys fucking know that I'm a fan of Game Pass and sub services, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not trying to sell you on that shit. What I'm saying, though, is it's kind of unbecoming that an analyst that gets paid to analyze the market for investors is making a statement like that when none of the sub services have really started to express the vision that was promised. So yeah, right now, I guess if what they're saying is, if nothing changes, sure, their analysis is correct. But I'll tell you something. If this is where I will concede the battle, okay? If come this holiday, we get Call of Duty on Game Pass. I can't speak to PSN. They've had some good things, but it's not their big thing that they're investing in. We get Call of Duty on Game Pass. Avowed is good to great. Indiana Jones is good to great. And what is it? The hell. What's her name? The crazy lady who walks around with mental health issues and fights bad guys. What's that thing called? That goddamn thing. Let's assume that's great. If all of that comes out and those things occur, but it's still just kind of Hellblade. There you go. It still just kind of sits there. Then I will concede. I will concede that the fact is, for a couple of reasons, Game Pass is not going to work. But until you actually have good games released at a proper cadence, at a proper clip, why, you know, how can you really throw out the baby with the bathwater? You're not commenting really on the core business model. You're commenting on the people who have filled the channel with subpar entertainment as it relates to mainstream audiences. Okay. Do you think people are just getting lazier, says Seven, and rather stay home than see movies in theaters? I don't think it's lazy. I think it's that, you know, there are so many other options that are good enough, and they also happen to be more convenient and less expensive. And in that, you know, people only go out when it's kind of, you know, a great example is this, by the way. Here's a great example as it relates to video games. So Hades 1 was a slow burn early access it was out for a long time. And then it came out, and obviously it did wonderfully, and it won Game of the Year awards, and people loved it, blah, blah, blah. But Hades 2 is now the game, even though it just launched in early access today, Hades 2 is now the game that you don't have to think twice about buying it. You know, as long as the reviews aren't like, this is a piece of shit, they totally shat the bed, there's a huge preloaded group of fans ready. Movies are the same way. You know, it's not that I don't want to see the Fall Guy, but there's nothing conceptually interesting enough about the Fall Guy that I say that's worth the time, money, and effort. But if somebody said there's a new Spider-Man film, or somebody said there is the new Mad Max film or something, not because it's a brand, but because I'm invested in the narrative, that will get me out to see it day one. So I don't know if it's so much laziness as it is, I'm good. I'm not compelled to go, what's going to happen at the end of the Fall Guy? I'm like, I'll find out. I don't mind waiting 2 extra months to find out. Would I rather watch the new Star Wars trilogy, says Golf franchise, or sit through all of Kojima's Metal Gear cutscenes? Oh, Star Wars. Hands down. Hands down. Okay. I'll play Hades 2 when it drops on PS Plus Extra or Game Pass, says Ravnos. Oh, and I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. Anyway, but it's good stuff. I do recommend it, is what I will say. Okay, let's talk about Gears. Let me ask you guys a question. So Gears is rumored, you know, next month we have the big shut up, Bukaki. It's ha ha ha. Do you sit down during Spider-Man wondering if he's going to make it this time? I'm not worried that he's going to die. But I want to see, you know, how do they introduce this villain I haven't seen, but I love from the comics? Or what is, you know, now that nobody remembers he's Spider-Man, does he ever get back with Mary Jane? All that shit, you know? Okay, for shizzle, that's what I'm saying. So Microsoft, whether you love them or hate them, love Game Pass, hate Game Pass, although I will say, not Game Pass related, but Microsoft related, Sea of Thieves, it is less expensive, but I don't want to pick at anybody here. I liked what I've played of Stellar Blade. I'm not fucking mocking it at all. Hope it does well for him. But it's barely in Sony's own what people are playing top 10. Sea of Thieves is like number 4. Stellar Blade's number 9. That is totally Mary Jane Spaz, but what are you talking about? So Gears, though. Let's go back to Gears. So Gears 6 is rumored to be there in June 9th. I'm excited for that show. We're going to see Indiana Jones. We're going to see Avowed. We're going to see Call of Duty information. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty 3 lately. God, I love that series. And they're going to show, the rumor is they're going to show the Gears of War. Now, here's the thing. I won't mind a Gears of War. It is Mary Jane. It's Mary. Don't fucking come at me. It's Mary fucking Jane Watson. Don't act like it's not. It's Mary Jane. What are you talking about? Anyway, so I lost my train. I can't look at the chat anymore. So yeah, I hope they don't just give us a remaster, blah, blah, blah. I want a new one, but I'll tell you something. I hope they've gotten this open world bullshit out of their fucking system is what I hope. Because it absolutely, if you go back like I did recently and you replay the goddamn Gears 1 and Gears 2, those games are so much better. Now, again, I did not hate Gears 5. I enjoyed it. But I will tell you that open world shenanigans is absolutely not of any kind of real value. Oh, God. Here we go. Here's Pete Turtle, folks. Pete Turtle, what's up, buddy?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. What do you want to talk about?
I just wanted to say, damn, I had a lot of things to say, but whatever. I'll just say this right now. Gears does not stand a chance if Kate the barista is going to be the main character.
What is it about her as a main character you don't like?
It's not about her. It's about you're putting a female who was whining the entire game about her mom and was basically putting this black character in his place who was simping for her the entire game as the main character. When people want Marcus Phoenix, we want that black Coltrane guy, and we want men in our games.
Well, what if she's like Vasquez? If they rewrite her to become like Vasquez and Aliens, or they rewrite her to become like, you know, just this badass warrior chick.
Well, Vasquez worked. Vasquez worked well enough because she was a side character, not the main character.
Yeah, but another badass woman was the main character.
You said what?
Another badass woman was the main character.
She didn't start that way. And I'm gonna be
Ripley
honest.
didn't start that way. Ripley's the main character in both those movies.
Yeah, but I'm saying she doesn't really become, you know, assertive and heroic until the end of the first movie. But
right, but Vasquez isn't in the first movie. She's in the second movie.
She's in the second one, but I'm saying in the second one, Vasquez is a side character. She's not a main character.
Okay, my point though is if Gears 6 has a woman hero, but she's more like a Vasquez, does that
it won't work? And can I explain why?
What was your answer?
I'm gonna tell you this right now. Alien was an original property, and that's the way it started. Okay, it's not Die Hard, and then Die Hard 6 we're gonna bring in, I don't know, who's a horrible what's the Miss Marvel that everybody hates? What's her name?
Oh, Brie Larson. That's a good idea.
Right. We're not going to bring Brie Larson to take over the Die Hard franchise. All right. You alienate your fans. It sucks. We don't want it. And I'm going to tell you something real quick. The Alien movies are cool. I never understood the love for Ripley. I never understood it. To me,
well, let's stay on Gears for a minute though, because here's where I will agree with you. I think Gears, and again, I liked Gears 5. I did not like the open world stuff. I thought it fucked the pacing terribly, but I thought the gunplay was great, the graphics were great, blah blah blah. But I don't even want to see. To me, Gears of War is Marcus Phoenix and Coltrane. That's it.
I agree.
That's it. And it's not, and I don't mean that in a disrespect to the other characters. I had no problem with the woman character in
you can disrespect them. I give you,
but I don't. But I'm saying I'm not disrespecting them. Like if they would have been great characters, I would have liked it. No, I don't want new characters in Gears. I want those. It's like the weirdest thing about Gears is they figured it out. They made iconic characters that people loved. Mm-hmm. No one needs that to change.
Nope.
I never played Gears 3. Did he die at the end or something? And that's, you can always bring him back, but
let me ask you this though.
What happened to Marcus Phoenix in the lore right now? Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's alive. He's there with his son. He's just like an old guy who gets cucked by the main character girl. He's always siding with her. You know, she's always right about everything. In fact, I think he takes her side over his son's side the entire game. Just they ruined that character. Kill him now, please. Kill him.
Well, they can bring him back. I like I said, as a guy who just recently played it again, Gears 1 and 2, I'm like, yeah, those characters are great. Why the fuck?
But let me ask you this, Jaffe. Do you think it's smart? Let's say you want to go in a new direction. You want to bring in new characters. Why would you take a franchise like Gears and say we want to focus on a female character? And isn't she voiced by what's her name, Laura Bailey?
I don't know. Probably. So. She voices a lot. She's like the female version of Troy.
I know, but I'm saying once you get her in, we know this game is woke. But go ahead. Okay,
then whatever. Again, I don't know. I don't care if it's a woman or a man. I think the issue is you've got these starring characters. You know, it's kind of like Metal Gear Solid 2. It's like I liked Metal Gear Solid 2 a lot.
That's the best one.
Yeah, but I did, they did. It is like Metal Gear. It's almost synonymous for Solid Snake. I don't want to play
I agree with
Raiden.
that, but Kojima made Raiden the main character. One of the reasons was to actually make Solid Snake cooler. You're actually playing.
I understand, and again, I enjoyed the game.
You never could have thought of because you're not that smart. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is when you have a franchise, it seems that video game companies tend to do a really poor job at understanding what the fans like when they're making sequels. I mean, we did it too. I mean, we dropped the ball with Twisted Metal because a lot of the fans were like, we want the driver, in the car to be the same thing. We were just clueless as to what they wanted. And I don't know if movies do a better job of getting that data than games, or games so far are just still, marketing might need a little bit more control over these big budget games where it's like, guys, I know you think Marcus Phoenix is played out as a character. Nobody cares. He's not. Continue, please.
But you're talking about historically or currently?
I think historically. I think the idea of hearing developers go, "Oh, Nathan Drake's story is over." It's not. He's not a real person.
No. I disagree. But
it's like saying Godzilla's story is over. It's never.
No. But Jaffe, it took 4 games for, again, a bad 4th game for people to get tired of Nathan Drake. And even then, people are going to take Nathan Drake over his daughter any day, who they're probably going to want to make the new main character. Oh, you look at the God of War trilogy. The original trilogy was great,
but that doesn't mean that I want it to be called Uncharted. Make a Cassie Drake game, but make her bad.
Let it fail, because it absolutely will fail.
That's not true.
It absolutely will fail.
Uncharted Lost Legacy starred 2 women. It did not fail.
The only way that game does not fail, Jaffe, is if it comes out when the PS6 comes out and they bundle it with every PS6 that is incredibly hard to get.
That's ridiculous. You're telling me
the only way.
That's like saying Tomb Raider doesn't get to succeed because there's a woman in it. Don't be a fucking moron.
No, Tomb Raider.
You're already a pedophile. Don't be a fucking moron.
I'm not saying these games don't exist because they have women in them. The problem is that they're making these women masculine. Tomb Raider can do well if you focus on her titties. You get her dressed very scantily clad, and she, plays into the sexiness. If you don't do that, these games fail. It's that simple. Why are you even fighting against it?
Because I have the numbers to back me up and prove you wrong.
What numbers?
The last couple of Tomb Raiders have done well.
The last one flopped, my friend.
Let me fucking finish. I will agree with you that I think Tomb Raider is better when it straddles the line. I don't want to see Tomb Raider become Stellar Blade, because I think the character is too, dare I say it, classy.
Would you say the originals were like Stellar?
The originals are so basic, I'm talking one, if you want, I went back and played the remaster when it came out on Valentine's Day, and those cutscenes were, there's no character development of Lara Croft, but
don't need it.
Okay. My point though, is that I want to see them turn the sexy knob and the sex appeal up on Tomb Raider 30-40%. But I don't want about 80. I don't want her to become a fucking porn actress like Eve in Stellar Blade, which is pretty much what Eve is, which is great for that game. But Lara Croft has a kick-ass, take names kind of chick, and I like that. And I don't want to see that become.
But one of the best things about Lara Croft was her design. She had an iconic design that they threw away to make smelly weirdo, what
design. She was saying she had an iconic design is the same thing as saying that Nirvana's Nevermind album cover is iconic because it's a great album cover. It was a great album cover, and it was a great design because they were associated with things that hit at the right time in the zeitgeist. Lara Croft, it could have been.
Isn't that what makes things iconic?
Success makes things iconic because you remember them associated with something that brought you great joy.
Okay, you're just explaining a lot of nothing. She had an iconic design. No matter what the reason was, her design became iconic.
Now you added a verb. You said became iconic. But when it launched,
no, I said she had an iconic design. But now that you wanted more context, okay, she became iconic due to the success of the game. But she has an iconic design. What the hell? What do we need to explain around that for?
Because life is nuanced, and it's not, I know you still kind of, write, things in crayon, but the fact of the matter is that, she became what she became because it was one of the first embracing of sexuality for video games, and the audience was ready for it, and the graphics were ready for it, and I was ready for it. It could have been anything, visually, as long as she was a sexy woman. It's not about
but that character has stuck. That design has stuck. I mean, she had the Angelina Jolie look.
Okay. Anyway, point being though is yes, I will on a rare fucking moment, I will agree with you that I want to see it sexier. I don't want to see her become, and I think they're trying to find that balance. But
didn't the new news that just came out? She's gonna be nothing like Lara Croft, from what I understand.
No, I haven't seen that. I've
you
not
haven't heard that? She's basically gonna like make sure that. Dude, I can't remember. It was something about tomb raiding, and she wants to be a responsible tomb raider now.
Well, she won't know. Okay, but that's got nothing to do with the way she looks and her character. That's her motivation. So her motivation, my understanding is she's going after people that are grave robbing, and she's going to steal the items from them and put them in a museum. So,
my God, this is what we've come to, Jaffe.
She doesn't exist without Indiana Jones. That's exactly what Indiana Jones does.
Who cares?
I do, bitch.
We had the first 3 games, they worked. It's ridiculous. And this is why these games are falling off. And
they're not falling off. They did well.
Jaffe, Xbox is about to be finished as a platform.
Okay, now you're jumping from Lara Croft to
I'm talking about the games industry, games in general. This stuff is done for.
Vitaphone says Lara Croft is popular cosplay with people who have never played the games. I agree. I totally agree. I'm not suggesting that she's not an attractive woman. I'm saying that things become. The best example is Jet Moto. The name Jet Moto. Jet Moto is a terrible name for anything, but it's great. And I learned that lesson early at Sony. It's like, dude, if the game's a hit and people love it, the name becomes associated with it, right? Look at Fortnite. Fortnite's the stupidest fucking name in the world. It is the biggest video game ever made. And it's like, what the fuck is Fortnite? You probably couldn't get most people to tell you how many days or nights are in a Fortnite. How many are in a Fortnite?
What is it, 2 weeks or 2 days or something like that?
2 weeks. It's 14.
There we go. I have a brain.
Well, did your girlfriend just tell you that? I studied that today in history.
Thanks, babe.
But yeah, no. The point is though, is that the Lara Croft's is awesome, but she could have looked a lot of different ways, and she would have been awesome. I'm not dissing Fortnite, Tizak. I played it yesterday. I love Fortnite. I love the Lego mode. I love the no build mode. I'm a big fan.
I respect Fortnite way more than 90% of these AAA games that are coming out. At least Fortnite focuses on being a game.
Yeah. So what else you want to talk about real quick, P Turtle? I'm going to bring in some more people.
Oh, okay. What I was going to say. Real quick. The last conversation we had where I totally schooled Kirkland Gray.
Yeah.
And I had backup. Those were some good guys. What I was going to say is, in order to make me and yourself a star and to elevate this channel, because it needs it, man.
I'm already a star, but keep going.
A former star. But what you need to do is take when I come in that video and put it online, and you got to have a clickbait title. You got to say, DI debate, erupts into something crazy. Whatever. And bam, 10,000 views on that. I promise you. If not, Jaffe, I'll come on stream and show my face.
Let me think about it, because I'm more than willing to cut that video. And
this is why you need me as your producer, man. This is why.
Dude, you're going to be in jail in a year. You are a pedophile, and you are, I don't know. I worry about you. But, I think you're probably Captain Hogwash from back in the day. Anyway, thanks, Peter. I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you, man, later.
See you, buddy. There needs to be gatekeeping. Well, let me explain something, Blackjack. The Proper Gabbin' and Game show, which I'm putting up tomorrow, is not a live show. I talked about this the other day. That show will have gatekeeping because it's just me. But I've decided to make Gabbin' and Games live. Whenever you see the thumbnail and it says live, it's going to go everywhere. Because there are people that like that, but I get that there are people that don't. I totally get that. And that's why I have that separate show twice a week, Gabbin' and Games, or whatever we end up calling it. So, and speaking of, oh my God, you guys, I'll be talking on this about this a little bit tomorrow. I've been playing this game. I'm almost done with it. I played a little bit on stream Friday called Indica, which is this slow as fuck burn horror game about this nun who's questioning her religion. And it is, it's disturbing and weird and very compelling. And you know me, I don't like these fucking slow burn games, but it's compelling enough that I am absolutely sticking with it. It's pretty fucking cool. I'm going to show you something else real quick. I'm not going to spend much time on this because I'm going to put it up on a video separately and I will edit it. But I do want to show you this. The Catholic, it's about video games. So, well, first let's get away from that. Let's get away from that for now. I'll do it in a different video. The gist of it is the Catholic Church put up an AI priest, and he is designed to answer questions. You can talk to him with your microphone about the Catholic religion, and it's absolutely fascinating. But that's not, I know people don't show up for. Oh, shut up, Bukaki. What if a nun questioned her faith? Wow, very deep. I'm not saying that's what makes it deep. That's where it starts, bitch. That's where it starts. I asked the AI thing about them having sex with children. It's quite fascinating. I'll just show it to you, but I'm not gonna belabor the point because I know some people don't like it when we get into religion. I may not even be able to find it right now. It's called. I'll show it to you in the proper Gabbing Games. That's when we get to see it. Look at this though. I'm going to tell you something. I got a raw fucking deal. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not one of the. I'm incredibly grateful for what the video game industry has given me in terms of freedom and finances and all that. I'm not complaining, but I'll tell you something. When I see stories like the one I'm about to share with you, I just go, my God, Jaffe, you fucking moron. I had a moment, fellas, where I was plugged into the zeitgeist. I knew what the gamers wanted. And I could make money for myself and people who worked with me, and they could make money, and it was great. But in that window, I wasn't smart, or I wasn't brave enough to go on my own, I think. Maybe that's not it's irrelevant. The point is, Call of Duty Black Ops creator David Anthony is putting his custom-built Bel Air home on the market for $27 million. Would you like to see what it looks like? This is what I think people think when they think, oh, Jaffe, you're worth so much money, you must live in a place like this. I don't live in a place like this. Look at this fucking thing. $27 million. Look at this fucking thing. Now, again, this may not be that impressive to you guys if you live in a normal part of the country. You can get something like this in Alabama or Virginia for like $680,000. But in Bel Air in California, this is a $27 million house. That's pretty impressive. So, but no, I just look at this and go, what did I do? I don't care. It's just money. Money comes, money goes. What is the Kanye line, which is one of the good things he said? Yeah, it's California. It's Bel Air. Having money is not everything. Not having it is. So, I'm very well taken care of. I'm good. But I'm just saying, you see this, you're like, hey, my God, there are people who make that kind of money. It's crazy. I'm not one of them. Yeah, well, Call of Duty is way bigger than God of War. And also my understanding is, he worked for, whatever the company that makes the Black Ops games. I believe they were independent and then they got acquired. And so in that there was a payout basically. And then this guy went on to found Deviation Games, which obviously is no longer with us. Oh, it's Treyarch. Okay. But anyway, it is what it is. Okay. If you made Connecticut 2, you could be living there. Can you imagine? God, no. Nobody bought that game. You guys see Cliff Bleszinski did some comedy stand-up last night. Would you like to see it? It's like 3 minutes. Here's what it made me think. This is what it made me think. And I'll show it to you. We'll watch it. And he posted it online. It's a 3-minute clip, so it's not going to bore you. First off, it takes some guts, but I watch this and I say, I want to do that. Like that's my response to this is I think that looks like a lot of fun. And to be fair, Cliff seems a little nervous. This is his second time he's ever done it. So, you got to give the man props for having the guts and everything. But I will say that, I look at this and I say, wow, that looks like a great deal of fun. I don't have any comedy prepared, but I could come up with 5 fucking minutes. I think. Here you go. This is him performing, I think, a few nights ago in Raleigh. It's 3 minutes long. Bear with me.
Let's give it up for our host, Rosie the Riveter. All right, second time doing this, so go easy. So when did suck my dick become an insult? Like, that should be like a favor you're doing for somebody else. If you're like sucking somebody's dick, that's work. Like, you're emptying their balls as a favor. That's like insulting somebody, being like, mow my lawn, paint my house.
It's not a bad joke. It's not. Oh, you can't hear it. Can you not hear it? Oh, let me fix that for you guys. You're like, what is he saying, Jaffe? Sorry, I'll fix it for you. I'll fix it for you guys. Because that's the kind of guy I am. Oh, Vitaphone, you could hear it? Okay, so do I need to fix the audio or what? Okay, yeah, everybody else says they can hear it. I'll keep playing. But yeah, I didn't think this was a bad. This joke got no laughs for the most part, and I'm just kind of like, I don't think it's like fall down funny. I don't think it's a joke that's like that clever. Maybe it's just that people have heard it before, but it's quiet. Okay, let me fix this for you. It has subtitles also, so yeah, go with that. Let me move my picture up here. But maybe, you know, it's the delivery, says RPG. That takes time. Yeah, it could be that. It could be that. Because, yeah, okay, here we go. We'll keep going then. I can't fix the audio. Just turn it up. And don't forget to turn it back down when you're done.
Like insulting somebody, being like, mow my lawn, paint my house. And it's one of those things like back in the day when I was younger, we used to say, go fly a kite.
CR3D says, why would you post bombing on stage? I'm proud of the guy. This takes guts. This is a big deal. And I know he really is into it. And he put it up, and I just wanted to talk about it. I think it's pretty cool. I don't think it's great, but I think most of the problem is his performance. It's not his material. I don't think his material is great. It's pretty benign. I've heard a lot of it before. But, you know, for the second time standing up in front of a live audience is pretty fucking good. And I also posted because I'm like, you know what? I think I could do this. I don't want to do it professionally, but I just would want to. I think it's one of those things I want to try once before I kind of expire, because I think I would really enjoy it. But I don't know. Maybe not. Here we go.
It was like, what does that even mean? It's like, go fly. That actually sounds really relaxing. Maybe I'm just going to go to the Outer Banks and fly a kite and relax after I get my dick sucked. Hey, come on, second time, bear with me. So I moved here in '98. I love the South. It's grown on me. Just had barbecue, longleaf swine. That shit is delicious. And it's one of those things that Raleigh's been growing exponentially. I've seen a huge amount of explosion of shitty 6-story buildings left and right. At least they're mixed use. And I remember before I met my lovely wife, hi, I was out at a bar on Glenwood South. I was talking to a lovely young Southern girl, and she said, I don't make it out to the big city that often. And I'm like, yeah, only make it out to New York City like 2-3 times a year. And she goes, I'm talking about Raleigh. Must have been from Clayton. The thing I've learned about the South is if you want to get rich in this area, open a wedding venue that is next to a family law attorney. You know where this is going. Because Southern girls get married before 22, so they get divorced before 30. That's right, I said it. That one didn't land. Okay. Hey, you know, this is why I have the piece of paper, okay?
See, I think it's interesting, though, because it's like, it's clear to me that I think if he just got rid of the jitters, like even if a joke bombs, let it bomb. Don't let them see you fail, even if you absolutely fail. That's what I'm thinking. But again, that's why I want to do it. I want to see if I can actually talk the talk versus backseat drive.
So we got any married people in the house? Yeah, marriage, it's work, but it's worth it. Yeah, I'm on my second marriage. As my first wife told me, we learn balance by falling. You guys ever play fuck, marry, kill with your significant other? Yeah, I did this with my wife once. That's right, I'm putting you on blast, woman. And she's like, yeah, Jason Bateman. I'm like, yeah, you need 2 more celebrities. She's like, no, just Jason Bateman. I'm like, why? Because she's like, I'd probably fuck him, marry him, and then eventually kill him. And then I had to call my family law people. I'm afraid this bitch won't kill me. Anyway, regards to the fuck, marry, kill, I was like, hon, I think years ago, OJ kind of cornered the market on that. Thank you, Uncle BB.
Good ending joke. Not bad. Not bad. I liked it. I'm proud of him. Good job, Cliff. I mean, again, though, I think if I was a comedy consultant with no experience at all, I'd say it's very you can't, you got to be a character. I don't mean like a wacky character. I mean, you can't be yourself being nervous, because it doesn't work. But I did like the OJ joke. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, the last joke was good. I think we all agree. Everybody in the chat says it was good too. Yeah. Oh, shut up, Elmonder. Jesus Christ. What a miserable sloth you are. He says funnier than any women. Fuck you, by the way. There are people who go around and say women aren't funny. That's the craziest. I can name a bunch of fucking funny women. I don't know what you people are talking about. Oh, you would like me to name them? Okay, fine. Kate McKinnon is hilarious. Melissa McCarthy is hilarious. Jennifer Mann is hilarious. Who else? Tina Fey is hilarious. Wanda Sykes is hilarious. Heidi Gardner is hilarious. There's a lot of fucking funny women. What are you talking about? Stand up as a craft and art, says Vitaphone. Probably post after you have some chops, but I guess an age of sharing. Yeah, I think he just wanted to get it out there and see what people thought, man. I think it's great. You're going to bomb. You're going to fail. Big deal. No, I'm impressed. I think that's good stuff that he did. All right, fellas. Well, there you go. That's Gavin and Games Live for today. I will be back tomorrow with a pre-recorded Gavin and Games that is all about the video games. I'll talk a little bit about Indica tomorrow. I'll talk about this Zao game from EA, which has strangely got its hooks in me. There's some Deviant news, Defiant news, X-Defiant news. There's some good stuff coming up. What do you mean that's it? Well, which X? I'll give somebody a chance to call in, and that's all my topics, man. There's the chat. If you want to call in and get on the show and talk, I'll talk for a little bit more. But I got nothing. Yeah, Molly Shannon's fucking hilarious. I agree. Cliffy does that shit all the time, says Bukaki. He'll post some cringe, and then when anybody has anything to say, he gets all pissy. Yeah, he does. He's a sensitive soul. It's a sensitive soul. Anytime, Grim the Kid. The last stream was 5 hours. I mean, that's the fun of me. That's the fun of being me. You just don't know where it's going to go. You don't know what's going to happen show to show. I mean, I'll talk about things, but I mean, my stream my topics are exhausted. I'm done. I plan these things. But I'm more than happy to continue to talk. If you want to talk about something, I'm happy to do that. But I'm just looking at my topics. I don't really have anything worth mentioning right now that is game related. 1 hour is my time on bed, Jaffe. Okay, fair enough. When are you playing God of War PS2? I don't know, Stoner Joe. I don't know. What I might do with it is I might play it and do a commentary track, but I don't think I want to play it and do it live, because I think I can actually offer a better product if I have time to think about what I want to say and all that stuff. And then maybe I'll do a premiere and watch it live, but I don't think I want to stream it live. Yeah, I could test my stand-up material on stream. George Elliott says this is not as funny currently because a lot of his topics have been overly politicized. You mean Cliffy B or my topics? God of War is not an open wound to me at all. I am very proud of God of War. I don't feel a huge association with it anymore. I feel much closer to Twisted Metal. God of War 1, I think is, really was me when I was that age, and I love it. But no, I'm kind of, I'm good, man. Grim says, how's it feel to play a game you worked on? And that seems crazy to me. It's probably like listening, watching people listen to your music. It's just, I feel very disassociated from the games that I worked on. I not in a bad way, but like it's sort of, that was that time, and it kind of was a reflection of you at that time and the team at that time. And I'll give you a great example though. Give you an example. I'm reading this book right now called The Wisdom of Iwata, about the dead guy. He's dead now. I'll bring you in a second, Movie Maniac. But he used to run Nintendo and all this stuff. And I kind of remember sort of hearing that he had been a programmer, blah, blah, blah. But I'm reading the book and I'm like, oh, he did NES Pinball as the programmer, designer. He did Balloon Flight, and he did golf. And after reading about those games and his contributions and this, that, and the other, I went to my Switch and I did the, how you can play old games on the Switch. I played them all. And pinball and Balloon Flight, I'm not a golf guy, so I couldn't figure it out. But pinball and Balloon Flight are genuinely compelling and fun still. They're antiquated, but they're genuinely compelling and fun still. And it was really neat because, it's probably like, if you read a book, an autobiography, that person's long gone, but it's still their voice. It's still like they're there with you. When I'm playing pinball or Balloon Fight, and I'm like, yeah, he's gone and I never knew him, but the choices that he made about the physics of the ball or the speed of flying when you're hooked to the balloons, or one balloon versus two balloons or whatever, it's almost subconscious in a way that it's closer to the creator than reading a book. Because when you read a book, it's edited, not by an editor, but the person writing it has edited it and given it their, this is what I want to present as. But when Iwata is tuning those numbers for how that ball moves around, or how the balloons fly, that's an essence of him. That's just like, this feels good to me. This feels right to me. I don't know how to articulate it. I don't necessarily understand it, but these numbers feel right to me. And I think there's a closeness you feel to that creator because of that. And I think that's amazing, man. Yeah, it's NES Pinball. It's literally just called Pinball, right? I was surprised to learn it was the number 6 best-selling NES game of all time. But it's really fun. It's really quite clever, and it plays great still. And I recommend, playing it, and Balloon Fight or Flight, whatever the fuck it's called. Embrace neo-fascism. No, I don't think I will, but thank you for that. Jay Charisma. Hang on a second. I gotta get these super chats. I'm sorry. Golf Franchise, thank you, buddy. He says, if I only had emailed Bill Gates over and over to get Halo on the PlayStation in 2000, shouldn't this outcry end exclusivity? I think you're going to see that kind of exclusivity go away if you're talking about console wise, but I do think you're always going to have a reason for people in business to want you to come over to their side of the store and buy their shit versus their competition shit. And in that's where you get the exclusivity from. But I don't think it's going to affect, I think it's going to affect more things like the channels, the game channels you sub to, because consoles, when they go away, it's irrelevant. Like if there was a competing group for GeForce, which I love, it's my favorite subscription I have. It's not so much that I can't play someone else's game on someone else's computer or whatever. It's the fact that if I want to play that, I'll need to subscribe to GeForce for a month, right? Or to whatever. So Jay Charisma, thank you for the super chat. And you as well, Jay Charisma. Jay Charisma says, my Twisted Metal and God of War t-shirts arrived from Ripple Junction. So nice to see TM make a comeback. I haven't seen those. I don't know what those are. I'll look them up in a minute. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Jay Charisma. Movie Maniac, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Jaffe, how you doing, man?
Whoa. What's up?
I saw the Zombies Ate My Neighbors behind you, and I was wondering, did you ever play Deadly Tower of Monsters?
No, I own it, and it looked really cool because it looked like it was like toys or something. Like it was like a bunch of right? Or no?
I'm okay. It's there's bits in it where it's got like the Ray Harryhausen like dinosaurs moving.
Yeah.
So that could look kind of toy-like. Like I could see that, but no, it's like it's basically Zombies Ate My Neighbors only for mid-century sci-fi. So it's like
okay, cool. Like
you
50s
get
creature
your
feature and all that.
Forbidden Planet monsters.
I
and
love
you
that
get
stuff.
Dude, it's
I love
so
that stuff.
awesome.
But what is the gameplay?
The gameplay, it's like a top-down. Maybe it's a little bit behind the shoulder. I don't know. I feel like it was top-down mostly, like shooter.
It's a shooter. Is that what
And
it is?
It is 100% worth your time if you haven't checked it out yet. Like it is so good. And yeah, see, there you go. You got your dino right there in the.
Okay. Who's the sexy lady? Is she in the game?
She's definitely in the game.
Oh. Okay, cool. All right. So it's a good shooter and it's a good kind of throwback, or it's mostly the throwback you like, or it's genuinely a good game.
I guess like the rub to Deadly Tower of Monsters, it's like you're watching a movie with the DVD commentary on. So there's like a cheesy B-movie director narrating the whole thing.
Oh,
Talking
okay.
about
Okay.
how, this thing was silly. He had to, cut with the union on this thing and blah, blah, blah. So you're playing it and you're hearing that going on. And it's just like a hodgepodge of the coolest monsters from sci-fi movies.
I will give it a look. Have you played, what is that game? It's Squad like 51 or something. Have you seen that?
Squad 51.
Hang on.
I'm going to Google it.
I
played Squad.
Squad 51 versus the Flying Saucers is what it's called.
No, I've not played that.
If you're into that kind of era and vibe, it was all shot with like models. It's got a dude in a rubber suit that you fight. It's a shooter. I'm putting it on the screen if you want to see it. So here's a picture of it.
Okay, yeah, that looks that's the similar, yeah. It's like
but I mean, it's all in black and white.
looking.
It's got all the chatter of the pilots talking. It's clearly done on like Godzilla 1950, 1960 sets. There's a dude running around in it's fun. It's really, really fun. As a shooter, it's fine, but it's the aesthetic that really makes it special.
Okay, so this is like Raiden, one of those old school side to side.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. So, but I will give Tower Monsters a look. I appreciate the recommend. Thank you for
I
that.
have one more question, Jaffe.
Yep.
With the Twisted Metal, because you had mentioned that earlier too. As far as like characters not using their sort of character cars, what was it that made you want to switch that up for Twisted Metal? I think it was 2012.
Yeah. So it was okay. So we knew that Twisted Metal Black had not done brilliantly. Critically, it did wonderfully, but
Thank you for including that, by the way, in Twisted Metal 2013 or 12, because that was a download with that, and I was like, sweet, because I don't
there was. Oh, okay. I don't even remember, but it did well. But it wasn't the big hit, and we're like, okay, if we're going to do it again and we're going to charge full price for it, we got to make this more appealing, more mainstream. Okay. So it started with me going, let's try to, Fast and the Furious it or Call of Duty it. Let's have, we'd still have crazy characters, but instead of these wacky machines that they're driving, let's have them in really cool vehicles. And you see them leaning out the door and, somebody pops out of the trunk and drops it, throws TNT out the back. And it would be more like a modern action movie than anything else. And so with that came putting people in the cars, in all the cars. And in putting people in all the vehicles, we needed to have a co-pilot because somebody has to lean out the window and shoot. And if you're doing a tight turn, you can't really do that. And so I thought that would be so appealing that's where the idea of the factions came from. And I liked it, but looking back, it was very, very, very clear that people were like, no, we like it when the driver and the car are synonymous. So we kind of dropped the ball on that. And we tried to pivot. We knew at Comic-Con, which was about 8-9 months before we shipped, it's like, we could maybe do a mode of just car tied to character. And we talked about it over a couple of breakfasts at Comic-Con, but it never quite came together. It was too much to do, too small of a team.
So okay, what was it that inspired the mech? Because I feel like there was a big mech battle, if I remember.
Well, we had
Bit
them in. We had Sweet Tooth transform into a robot on wheels in T and Black. So it was just kind of an extension of that. We're like, hey, wouldn't this be cool?
Because that was like that was a really neat boss fight. Where you just boss.
Oh no! You're talking about the boss fight, not Sweet Tooth. You're talking about just the doll face boss fight. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yes.
I don't know what inspired it. I mean, we were looking for every boss to feel epic and different and cinematic, but I don't. And I remember sitting with Scott and Kellen, my fellow directors and designers at Comic-Con with a piece of paper, and we were hashing out that design during Comic-Con, but I don't remember where the idea of let's do a big flying robot came from, but I thought it was great. That was great.
There was bits in that, like when you get to that boss fight and you're running down that highway shooting missiles at a huge mech, and then like Rob Zombie's Drangula comes on. Yeah. That's just a cool feeling, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like that's really cool feeling. The soundtrack for that game, like you nailed it. Like it was cool.
We got real fortunate. We had a lot of good people in the music team that were offering us a lot of options, and we were just like, yeah, that's great. You just use that. That's great. So, all right, Movie Maniac, I appreciate the call and the questions. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
I did. Thank you.
See you, buddy. Hello, Caleb Roberts. Good to see you. Yeah, the Carnicle of Carnage obstacle track. Yeah, that was frustrating. I agree. I saw Mutimo brought up War of the Monsters. One thing I want to tell you guys right now and you may have played this, I was surprised by this. YouTube, there's a game called Gigabash, and it's I don't want to say it's an awesome fucking game, but it is basically people who want War of the Monsters today. This is that. There's a single player mode and there's multiplayer. I don't know if there's online, but it's beautifully produced, wonderful visuals. I think it's on PS Plus or PS Plus Now or one of those fucking things. And if you are kind of longing for some War of the Monster stuff, this is really fun. And if it is online, maybe I'll do a members game night with this because it's pretty cool. But it's kind of next gen version of War of the Monsters, and you can pick up the buildings and throw them, and pick up boats and throw them, and all the monsters have different abilities. It's quite cool. It's quite cool. So it's been out for a while, but again, this is PS Plus. The Brothers Grimm was a good boss, says Wallace. It was. I always thought that was the cool. I just thought it was the neatest thing, and it never really got the kind of props that I thought it deserved. And I hate to say that, but of course you love the stuff you make. But I remember that and going, oh, it's so cool that you have to, like in a movie, you have to get under the truck and then plant the bomb. And then I love that Sweet Tooth was like, okay, you've outlived your usefulness for me. And he just lets the guy die in the explosion, his partner and stuff. And I just thought people would be like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing. Never heard a word, but I'm glad you liked it. I liked it as well. So anyway, there you go. That's Gigabash. You can get that on, I think it's PSN. Let's see, Gigabash. PSN. Yeah, it's on the PlayStation Store. Okay, so it's included with PlayStation Plus Extra. So you can buy it for $25 or you can get it included. Okay, fellas, that is going to do it for Gabbin Games Live. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow with a recorded show. At least that's the goal. Depends how long it takes me to edit it, but that's the plan. And then I'll be back with another live on Wednesday. Don't forget, if you want to call in, just keep an eye out for the link down below. You can, get your questions, your thoughts. Consider membership, consider subscription, consider Patreon, all those good things. Keep the show rolling. But in the meantime, be well and be safe out there. And I appreciate you spending some time with me. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.